What's going on, you guys? AJ Tucker here with AJ Self Defense. It has been a minute since I have made a video on YouTube. I don't even know how long it's been. I'm not even going to know until I post this video and check when my last video was made. So I'm going to hop on here. I'm going to talk about a couple of different topics. All right. Normally I just come at you with one topic. Today I'm going to come at you with about 3 or 4 topics. The first one I want to talk about is OnlyFans model Courtney Clenny. I made a video about her a few months ago. I'm going to get you updated right here. So she was charged with murder of her boyfriend, Christian Ubumseli. I can't really say his name, but they were living in Austin. Then they moved to Miami, where she stabbed him. And I think she stabbed him in his sleep. I don't have all the details, but she stabbed him, and she claimed that it was self-defense. And she's an OnlyFans model. So one of her ex-neighbors in Austin said that they were always going at it. They was going back and forth. They were heard glass shattering. They were heard arguing and all that good stuff. And if you look at the pictures, if you look at pictures of them, he's an athletic guy, and she's kind of a petite woman. And so the thing is, a video resurfaced when they were in the elevator, and she was going at him. She was swinging punches at him, trying to hit him. And he was, just kind of fending off the punches and wasn't really fighting back. Now, I don't know who started it. I'm not going to go into that. But from a self-defense standpoint, I do want to go into that. So we're always told, like, hey, if a woman is trying to hit you, you don't have to hit her back. Just hold her and all that good stuff. And he pretty much did that. It looked like he pretty much followed that. But the thing is, though, if a woman is physically coming at you, if she's mentally abusive, it can always escalate. If anybody's abusive, it's obvious that if the man is abusive, it's going to escalate to something else. If the woman is abusive, if she's mentally abusive, throwing verbal assaults at you, it's going to get worse over the years. But if she's already being physically abusive, even if she's a tiny thing, it can always escalate. And she can get you in your sleep. You got to go to sleep. You got to sleep. You got to rest. And that's pretty much what happened. She stabbed him up. And so if you're a young guy, you're in your mid-20s, you're in your 30s, and a woman is trying to physically come at you. Yeah, so she was able to get off for a while. She was in Hawaii for a few months. Now, when I first originally made the video, I made a video saying that I feel like she's probably going to get off scot-free, and I'm going to give a couple of my points here in a little bit. Some may be controversial. Some you may be like, oh, okay, you're making some sense there. Or you may simply say that I disagree, okay? So I still feel like she's gonna get off scot-free, but they might end up taking down. Now, one backstory that's interesting is the boyfriend, he was a black man, she's a white woman or whatever. And, normally they feel like, oh, okay, if a white person kills a black person, they're gonna get off scot-free. Now, here of late, the court of public opinion has really had a big impact and influence on court cases. You see, a white person, a white cop kill a black man, and normally they get off scot-free, but in these last couple of years, they've been charged, they've been guilty because of court of public opinion, the outcry and things of that nature. Now, this guy, I don't know how long ago it was, but whenever this thing first went down, it was interesting because the elevator incident did not come out. What did come out is a series of old tweets that he made that was very disrespectful to black women, like a lot of disparaging tweets. And the funny thing is, well, this is not funny. Like, I didn't have an opinion on it one way or another. So I do know that when a black man is killed, the first thing that happens, especially when it's by a police officer, is character assassination. Old videos come out about him, or oh, he had drugs in his system, he smoked weed, and this and that, and this and that. Well, it was interesting in this case, old videos of him, old tweets of him came out of him saying bad things about black women. And so whenever I went to the different groups and I looked at the different tweets and things of that nature, instead of an outcry about, hey, a black man was killed, it was almost a gleeful celebration. From the black community saying, hey, well, he said this about black women, this is karma right here, he deserved to die, and things of that nature. Or it was simply non-support. And I'm not telling anybody to support it, because if somebody was coming at me sideways and then something happened to them, then you're not going to see me jumping up and down supporting. But I don't know who came out with the tweets. I don't know if it was her defense team that put that out there. If it was a genius masterstroke, because it was character assassination, and there was no public outcry. The only person, so instead of the black community supporting him, the only person that was supporting him was his close friends and family, which is very small. And this girl, she's an OnlyFans model. She has money, and so this thing was suppressed for at least half a year, and now everything is coming back out. So, from a self-defense standpoint, I'm just talking to the young men right here. Be careful what you say, because you might need, be careful, just going at one whole community, because you might need them later on. Be careful what you do. Be careful what you put out there when you're a teenager. Teenagers don't get that. I'm talking to my teenagers right now saying, hey, be careful what you put out there, because it can come back to bite you a decade later. Unfortunately, this is after he has already passed, but, we'll see. So hopefully the case isn't affected by what he said. It should be strictly based on what happened. Was this a murder? Was it self-defense? Should she be charged? Should she not be charged? Not what type of race he likes or what he thinks about this woman or that woman. You know what I'm saying? And so, young men, be careful out there. If she's a tiny thing, or if you don't think she can physically harm you, anybody can get it. All right. There was a story out there that just came out where a female doctor was arrested for poisoning her husband. She was trying to get him up out of there. She was putting liquid Drano in his applesauce for months. And he finally put a video out there because it was like, hey, man, you being poisoned. So they finally put a video out there, and or he put cameras out there and found her, poisoning his stuff. And he still had to take it just so he can get evidence on her. And she finally got busted. So on to my next story. So a few weeks ago, and I'm not talking about this video, but I just want to kind of link it up. But a few weeks ago, there was a woman in Pakistan. She was an American woman, and she was sexually assaulted. And I have not followed up on that story. But I was just saying, hey, man, you can't mess around in those other countries. And that's the main thing I was saying. And then a lot of people came at me sideways saying, oh, you hate Pakistan. I can tell you're a racist and this and that, this and that. No, not at all. But if you want to think that, you can think that. But I was just saying, you can't mess around in some of those other countries because they view women a certain way. Now, here's a story that just came out. Her name is Salma al-Shihab, I believe. And she's a student who was jailed for 34 years over some tweets. 34 years over some tweets. And they also arrested a bunch of other women as well. But they've been bragging about, hey, we are for women. We're going to improve women's rights and this and that. But all she did basically was speak out on tweets. And she's a peaceful activist, and she's getting 34 years out there in Saudi Arabia. Now, I'm not trying to sit here and say Saudi Arabia is the same as Pakistan or whatever. But all I'm saying is you can't mess around in those other countries the way you can mess around in this country. Look at Brittany Griner's situation where she got 9.5 years for having some cannabis oil in her vape cartridges. 9.5 years. And people are saying, hey, get her out of there, get her out of there. Which I feel like it's a very harsh sentence for her. But the thing is, there's no outcry for the other Americans that are out there. There's 3 other Americans out there right now who's all been out there longer than her. And the only reason why some of them are probably getting out is because they know they're going to get some backlash if they just get Brittany Griner out there. So it's, people are like, oh, they're discriminating against her. It's like, dude, Russia does not discriminate. They will lock anybody asses up. And I have always been a firm believer of that. And they got a pregnant teacher in there. She was defending herself because she was being abused. So she defended herself with a knife, and boom, she's in prison. She's locked up, and she ain't getting out, right? But all of a sudden, we have a black person that get locked up. There's a huge outcry from the community, which is a good thing. Get her up out of there. But there was no outcry for everybody else. But you can't say, oh, she's a lesbian, she was black, that's why she's thrown in there, when there's 3 other white people that's been sitting up in there for some years. And one guy got 14 years, another guy got a couple of years, and then the woman, she was defending herself from an abusive partner. She's been out there since last year. You haven't heard anything about her. So again, all I was saying a few weeks ago is you can't mess around in those other countries like you go about business in America. That's all I was saying. But if you want to think that I'm against a country or I'm against somebody, you're free to think that, all right? But just don't try to don't come over here. Don't come at me sideways. So the last thing that I want to talk about is the rise of sugar dating. So that's another thing that I've been talking about for the last 18 months or so, because I've been seeing a lot of murders come up where it's like, okay, I thought it was a stalker, but come to find out it was a sugar daddy. Now, that's not something that they're putting on the news, all these college girls getting killed, but it's something that is very prevalent for all the way down from age 18 all the way up into age 40, right? So if you don't know what sugar dating is, it's basically people getting on dating apps, and instead of dating and looking for love, they are making an arrangement saying basically, hey, I'm gonna pay you X amount of dollars. Hold on, let me bring up some stats real quick because y'all don't be believing me, man, when I talk about this stuff, but then it's very prevalent. And so on Seeking Arrangement, this is a premier dating site for sugaring arrangements. The average sugar daddy is 38 years old and earns $250,000 a year, while the average sugar baby is 25 years old and receives $2,800 monthly from their sugar daddy. So that's the average. Now, there's some women out there, they receive the older the woman, the more she's gonna receive. There's some women out there receiving $10,000 and $20,000 a month. There's girls who are more that college age that's receiving around, like $500 to $1,500 a month. It depends on the age. And so basically, as a man, when you go sugar dating, you basically cut your age in half and you add 7 years. So if you're 38 years old, you divide that by 2, which is 19, and you add 7 to it, and that's going to make the average, like the ideal woman for you, about 25, 26 years old. If you're 40 years old, that makes the average ideal woman about 27. So basically, that's what happens, because they're in different points of their lives. That man is established in his life, and he has money, and he doesn't want to deal with all this stuff. So I'm going to read a couple of things. Basically, sugar dating is kind of in between relationships and basically prostitution, where the woman doesn't want to be called a prostitute because she'll say, yeah, I got a sugar daddy, but I don't do all that stuff. Girl, you doing all that stuff. Just keep it real. Don't tell me anything else. We already know what's up. But they don't want to feel like they're being a prostitute because they're putting a little bit more into it. It's almost like a relationship and this and that. Now, the man, he basically wants to be like treated like a king. So it's her job is to basically, like support him and make him feel like a king. He doesn't want to be like disrespected and stuff like that. So that's basically the common thread for women. She don't want to feel like a prostitute, but she doesn't want all the strings attached, and she wants to be supported and taken care of. The man, he just wants to pay his money, but he doesn't want to just have like sex. He wants to be treated well. He doesn't want to be disrespected, doesn't want to be down talked or anything like that. That is basically the common thread for men. Now, it's like, Asia, this is a self-defense channel. Why are you always talking about sugar dating and stuff like that? Because there's dangers to it for men and women. So some men are blackmailed. A lot of men are extorted for trying to get a sugar dad, sugar mama. All right. And a lot of women are killed. They're deleted because they get into sugar dating, and it starts off one way and that thing just progresses. Now, there's a lot of successful relationships out there, right? And we don't hear about that, but my main focus is to focus on the safety part. I am not a church channel. Like, I go to church, but this channel is not for me to say, hey, that's wrong, don't do that, or, oh, I think that's okay. I don't even speak on that. I just speak on the safety portion, the safety aspect of it. And I put it out there because a lot of people don't even know this stuff is going on. All right. When you're at that game, like my kiddos play basketball there and dance. You might be at that basketball game or that soccer game, and there's a soccer mom. She got a sugar dad. She got a sugar daddy in California. And you see her flying and going on different trips and stuff, and she's posting on Instagram. She went here, she went to Morocco, she went to Punta Cana, whatever, all right? And she not posting pictures of a homegirl. She ain't posting pictures of another man up in there. She's just posting pictures of herself, all right? Somebody's on the other side of that camera paying for that trip. And, you see the guys out here, like, you don't even see them. They just do stuff on the low. They do it quietly, right? But there's dangers to it, and that's why I talk about it. So anyway, man, I've been gone for a long time, but I am back. This is a longer video than normal, but I just wanted to get back in this thing. So, but like I said, I haven't even logged in, so my YouTube may be shut down right now for hate speech or whatever. But I don't hate nobody. I'm just trying to help out right here. Anyway, that's all I got, man. I will see you on the